Jai Om Vishnupad Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Leela Pravistam Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bhargya Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bo. Welcome everybody to our regular Sunday afternoon broadcast from the East London branch Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. This week we have a very special treat for everybody. Our dear godbrothers and sister Sudarshan Prabhu and Rai Kishori Devi are here with us, and they will speak or do Kirtan or whatever they think is appropriate, and we will be benefited from them. For those who don't know them, they are from our Salt Lake City center. They're the leaders there, and both born in the family of Vaishnavas, practiced Krishna consciousness their whole lives, and now they're leading that. They're with their beautiful family, and they are my favorite people in the world, and we are so happy that they could be with us today. So without further ado, you go.
Sriman Devashis Prabhu, beautiful devotees. There's a few people in here I don't know. I just love to meet devotees, so if I could just hear all of your beautiful names. And there's a wonderful song by Srila Narottam Das Thakur when he says, the names of the devotees are my happiness. So I love to hear the names of the devotees, if it's okay. Could you all just introduce yourselves, if you don't mind?
There's one.
Oh, he has one?
Somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, it's right here. Sorry.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I can introduce myself. I'm Sudarshan Das. My parents are. He used to be called Shri Govinda Das, and now his name is Shripad Bhakti Vigraha Dasi Maharaj. He took sannyas. And my mother is Sri Lekha Devi. They're both living in Salt Lake City.
Can you speak a tiny bit louder?
Sure. Sorry, my voice is very low. And yeah, as Devashis Prabhu said, I was fortunate enough to be born in the family of devotees, have some exposure, and by their grace, came to the feet of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. So we have some fortune in life to be with him and his great associates like Sripad Devashis Prabhu. So yeah, there we go. We live in Salt Lake City, in the mountains in Utah, and if you guys are ever in America, you need to come visit us. We'll take you to a beautiful lake or something and chant Hare Krishna together.
We can move through everyone's names, yeah?
Yeah, Didi, would you mind?
Ganga.
Ganga, nice to meet you.
Uma.
Uma, yeah.
And Aisha.
Aisha.
Lakshya.
Daksha.
What's your name?
Tritya.
Tritya.
No, Ditya.
Oh,
Ditya.
Ditya. Ditya.
Krisha.
Kusha. Get up. Can you say it again?
Krisha.
Krisha. Krisha. Okay.
Krishak.
Krisha.
Krisha.
Okay.
No. Krisha. Krisha. Tisha. No. Krisha. Krisha. Trisha. No. Krisha. It's difficult.
Yeah, that's why. Get it right. Mrs. Vyasvi, know you for many years. In I think it was 1997 or something, 98. I lived here for 2 years. I think it was 97 and 98 in this month when I was very young, my early 20s. And we met Mrs. Vyas then, so many years. Yes.
What's your name?
My name is Harijan Das.
Harijan. And are you from here? Or?
I've been here for 9 months.
Okay.
Originally from Slovakia.
Slovakia, wow. Bratislava. That's the only city I know. Jai Ram Sundar Prabhu. We also remember you from so many years ago. Beautiful to see you again, Prabhu. Vishaka.
Son Vishaka. I have a daughter.
I'm Janame.
Janame Jaya.
Janame Jaya.
And what about you? What's your name? Gopi.
Wow, beautiful names. I'm kind of blown away by these girls just sitting here because, you know, there's kind of standards of adult education now, and I think adults can handle about 38 minutes sitting in one place. And these girls are like dominating all the standards, sitting here for hours. Amazing. Hare Krishna. Okay. Maybe we can actually sing that song. We can sing Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jile Darakori. So we'll sing one song, and maybe we can just talk a little bit about how the conception behind the song. The song is called Sharanagati. It is by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it is the first song of his book, which is also called Sharanagati. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about his conception, the deep conception of life behind this song.
So can we get some that? Can I get page 52? You want one more? Didi, do you need one? Okay. You need? Okay. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Gauri
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Gauri
Svaparshada Sviyajama Sahayavata auspicious invocation to Sharanagati ki.
Jai.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki.
Jai.
You want to read the translation?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, being gracious upon the Jiva souls. That's us. Along with your associates and abode, you descended to this world.
You distribute freely the love divine, most rare, by teaching exclusive surrender, the life and soul of the devotee.
Humility, self-giving, embracing his guardianship. Krishna will certainly protect me, maintaining this faith.
Acceptance of all activities favorable to devotion, embracing rejection of adversity to devotion.
Those who surrender in this sixfold way, their prayer will be heard by the divine son of Nanda.
Taking in his mouth a straw, falling at the lotus feet of Sri Rup and Sanatan, Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur clasps their holy lotus feet.
Weeping, weeping, I implore thee, O I am a fallen. Please teach me to surrender. Teach me pure devotion.
Jai Shri Loknath Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Sharanagati ki jai.
Jai.
So this song is very important to us, very important to the line. Those following the line of Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur teaches us that Mahaprabhu came to teach something very important, which is the life of Sharanagati. And it's a very, it's a very profound, meaningful life and an integrated life. There's an ancient verse that says, Bhayam dvitiya biniveshata syat ishadapesya viparyayo smriti. All of our anxiety, our fear, our disturbance in life is caused by dvitiya binivesh. Dvitiya binivesh means we have two purposes. We're scattered. We have cognitive dissonance, or schizophrenic, whatever psychological term you want to use. Some more than others, but in the end, all of our anxiety is caused by this misrelationship. We forgot that it's all for Him and that we're for Him. It's all for the Lord, and I am for the Lord. And asmriti at the end, it says, Ishala Pesya Viparyo Asmriti, I forgot that. And so I start to live for myself, whatever this little temporary egotistic identity is. It's very temporary. We look at ourselves and, oh, that's me. Oh, why am I getting... But it's not me. It's just this little encasement for a few years. So who am I? And what am I actually alive for? We have to contemplate these things very deeply. And Mahaprabhu has given the solution, Sharanagati, to live an integrated life. We have to live in a state of surrender to the Lord. But there's such sweetness contained within Him. Guru Maharaj would emphasize this point so many times. And it's such a good news that the Lord is your friend. The Lord is your friend. And to find the friendly angle of vision, that's a deep spiritual life. That some sweetness is coming. How can I see that? How can I find that angle of vision? That's the purpose of our spiritual life. Because when we're in Dvitiya Binivesh and we're caught up in our own selfish agenda, then we can see many things that may come in conflict with our agenda. And then we're seeing so many enemies everywhere. Guru Maharaj said the proper angle of vision, you will see friends everywhere. What is that angle of vision? That is the essence of spiritual life. And in the line of Mahaprabhu, you can have some progression within that. Bhagavad Gita, actually the whole Bhagavad Gita is leading to this conception. Krishna goes through so many yogas, so many variations. Karma yoga, Jnana yoga, Karma sannyas yoga, Dhyana yoga, etc. So many yogas. But in the end he says, Sarva dharman parityaja. Can leave all those many dharmas. Mamekam sharanam braja. There's one thing to do. Surrender to me. And then aham tvang sarva pape. I'll release you from all your karma, everything that is coming to you, all the bad things that you have done, and moksha shami. You will have some land of freedom that you can enter. But then the Gita ends. Krishna says, surrender to me, but then the Gita ends, and then it's like, well, how do I do that? And then Bhagavatam, Gurumar says, then that is where Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita are beginning with this idea. Beginning with Sharanam. How do you live the life of Sharanam? The life of Sharanagati. And this song is giving such universal, timeless advice. Dainya Atmani Vedana Gopri Trivarana Avashara Kibe Krishna Vishwasha Pavana. This is like how to live a life of Sharanagati. Very practical. It's not theoretical. It's very applicable to every single person in every moment of every person's life. This is real. Krishna is behind everything. Everything is for him. You are for him. And how do you live like that? There's a very sweet verse in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Bhoktaram yakya tapasam. I am the bhokta, like I am enjoying, I'm consuming all the yajna and all the tapasya within the world. Yajna means burning, tapasya means burning. Everything is burning, actually. All the motion of reality is creating it has burn in it, right? So Krishna is actually consuming everything. It's all for his enjoyment. Sarva loka maheshwaram. I'm the supreme lord of all lokas. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. But I'm friendly to you. I'm your heart friend. Gyatvam shantim richati. In this way you can actually have a peaceful existence. So to find his friendship, that's the key angle of vision. And the life of Sharanagati is the answer to the question, if God is your friend, how do you live? If God's your friend, then how do you live? That's the answer is Sharanagati. So this deep way of living, Dainya, which means humility, Atmanivedana, give yourself completely. Gotri Pevarnam, understand that at the root of your experiences in life is your guardian. And Guru Maharaj defined guardian, who knows what's good for you more than you know, and who wants what's good for you more than you want. It's a great mystery. Sometimes we have a very hard time taking care of ourselves. But Krishna wants to take care of us more than we want to. And Avashara Kiva Krishna, he's always my protector. I have confidence in his protection. These things have great meaning in our life. They're not just verses to be chanted in a song. It's very easy as a devotee to come on Sunday and you a couple hours, then you walk out the door and now it's like, okay, I did my spiritual life and now I'm going to go have to deal with my life. Right? That is a bad life. We can never live like that. It's not just a song to be like, okay, I chanted 4 songs. Well, maybe I'll do extra credit and I'll chant 5 songs. No, it has to be our life. It has to be our life. So how do we bring this vision into our life? This is a deep practicing life of Sharanagati. And Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Saraswati Thakur have emphasized Goptritve Varnam as the basis of Sharanagati. It means you have to see your guardian everywhere. It's a very deep, sometimes difficult practice. Because why? We experience rough times in life. No one is immune. There's no one who's not experiencing rough times. I used to think, no, there's some people, they're not experiencing rough times. And I had a boss at eBay. I used to work for a technology company. And this guy, I remember one day I walked in to see him and he had a $10 million check on his desk that eBay was paying him for his stocks because he joined at the right time, like really early. And I was like, wow, man, this guy is loaded. He has a beautiful wife, his kids, and I'm like, I don't think he's suffering really. This guy threw himself in front of a train and killed himself while I was working at eBay. Because we all have to go through what we have to go through. You can see things externally and you can think, oh, externally everything is in the right order. But this is Maya. Actually, all of us are caught in this lie. That if you just arrange the external properly, then the internal will feel happiness. Not true. That's the lie. We're always running to try to arrange the external properly. That's what we think. Oh, if just this, and then I possess this one thing, and then I'll be happy. It's a lie. So in one of the purports in Gita, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Guru Maharaj included this purport, he speaks of two Shaktis. One we call Maya Shakti, and sometimes we think, okay, I'm in the Maya Shakti. And we think the Maya Shakti is in this world. No, Maya Shakti is in your consciousness. Maya Shakti is in your consciousness. You're not in the Maya. You're fine, but you're in the Maya. That's the problem. No. You are in the Maya. That's the problem. So, when we define Maya, sometimes we say Maya Shakti means illusion. But another word for Maya Shakti is called Bahiranga Shakti. Bahiranga means, Bahir means actually away. But Bahiranga Shakti means outside. I'm thinking that if I just arrange outside of me properly, then I'll be happy. And I'm also thinking the cause of my distress is because outside isn't arranged properly. Now you're completely in Bahiranga Shakti. You think the outside gives you pleasure and the outside is the cause of your pain. And so now you're completely caught in the outside. And all your cares and worries are all, I need to arrange everything outside properly. Okay, that is why you will always be in that Dvitiya Vinivesh and Bhaya. Because actually you're not in control of the outside. And part of your mind knows it. And so part of your mind is always insecure and fearful. Because there's what? There's uncertainty. Always. Why? Why is there uncertainty outside? Because it's not yours to control. And so that uncertainty is causing fear. Okay? And the biggest person on this planet is feeling uncertainty and fear. Because that's the nature of Bahiranga Shakti. You're always going to be uncertainty and in fear. Always. Why? Because you think it all needs to serve me. And here's the order I need it all to be arranged in. And then I'll be happy. And then, now you're in fear. Why? Because you don't control it. And you know it. But it's for Krishna. And I'm for Krishna. And then you can understand something deeper. The feeling that I'm seeking, he is within me. Actually, that's Paramatma. I have no basis for my own existence without him. What to speak of everything else? Nothing can exist without his attentive glance. His attentive will is the cause of literally every atom in existence, including me. So we have to find that. And when you understand that what you're seeking is a feeling, you think you're seeking objects, but you're seeking a feeling. And the feeling is only coming from Krishna. He is Rishikesha. That means he's the master of our perception. What we perceive is coming from him. He's Rishika Isha. He's the master of what we perceive. Or Guru Maharaj said, the great hypnotizer, sometimes, right? He's the master of that. And he is also the master of all rasa, akila rasamrita murti. So any sweet feeling that we want to feel, that's also coming from him. And when you actually understand that, then you will enter into an internal life. That's called antaranga shakti. So Guru Maharaj would say there's the outflowing current, the inflowing current. And spiritual life means to explore intentionally, by the grace of Guru and Mahaprabhu, the inflowing current. Where does that go? And the mood to our outer life has to be one of Sharanagati. Oh, what? Something is serving you. That's what happened. Something is serving you, and I have a problem with it. Now I know where my problem is. Because we can look at ourselves and we can think, oh yeah, I'm actually pretty humble. I might have a little problem with anger, but I don't know, a really small problem. I mean, basically I'm great, honestly. You know, you try to examine yourself and you don't know where your problem is. And you have a self-serving narrative that kind of says, I'm good and there's a bunch of bad people around me. Right? That's ego, that's ahankara. I'm good and there's other bad people around me. But with Sharanagati, when you see that everything is serving Krishna, then we can understand that we have actually some issues with the environment. And then we understand where our problem is. Now we know what we have to work on. And this is so merciful to come to me, that I have some very clear practice in my spiritual life. Now I know where my issue is, and I will try to endure this feeling, sit in the negative feeling, is what a psychologist would say. Sit in the negative feeling. And ultimately what comes from that is an integration. You have an integrated life, and you become, by his grace, a little wider, a little more able to accommodate more things in your life. And ultimately, Sharanagati has its grace. The grace of Sharanagati is that you can actually connect with reality. The deeper vision of reality is that everything is serving the Leela of the Lord. And Guru Maharaj says, only a Sharanagata can participate in the Leela. So it's not like you just got to do enough good activities and then all of a sudden you find yourself in another world where the Leela is happening. Right? That's like mercenary type of thinking. Because if your inside is not pure, you're not going to go there. You're not going to be in that land. So how do we have a progressive life of cleansing our inside? That's the great gift of Mahaprabhu, the great gift of Sharanagati, that every moment of every day we have to offer to the Lord, and we have to feel the movement of his grace within our life. And you know, sometimes we do have problems in life. And so then you have to just, you have to just take, okay, this is his grace, this is his grace. It's like, very difficult, actually, extremely difficult. Because, as I said, no one is immune. No one is not having problems. Some person is smiling. That's actually a statement from Lord Buddha also. He said, everyone is suffering, so be kind. That's a very general statement. But ultimately we have to know that what is coming to us in our life, we have to start to see the Lord at the basis of that. And by him, by his grace, by the grace of his devotees, we can harmonize these occurrences in our life, and we can. To see that my friend has given me this circumstance, who wants good for me more than I want for myself, has given me this circumstance to go through. That's the progressive path. That's the real sadhana. The real sadhana. All the other sadhanas are getting you to the point where you can do that sadhana. Can you surrender to him in the moment of difficulty? And can you see his sweetness and grace and find it? Guru Maharaj will quote the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam many, many, many times. Tattenu kampam susamik shamano bhunjane vatmakritam vibhakam vidvak vapur vidathan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. This verse was spoken by a guru in our sampradaya. Our sampradaya is called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. This verse was spoken by Lord Brahma. This Tattenu Kampam verse, and this is, if you read Guru Maharaj, you're pretty much going to see this verse come up again and again and again and again and again. Because it's the fundamental integration of our life with our spiritual life. When our life is going good, we don't think of Krishna very much, actually. We're just like, oh, it's all, yeah, okay. But when our life is not going so good, then we start to, wait, what's wrong? Okay. And this is for this part of life. This verse is talking about this part of life where it's difficult. And we can always remember that, because really, generally, there's not one day that we don't go through a difficulty. So that maybe can help us remember Krishna. Remember, Ishada Pesya Viparyayo Asmriti. We're forgetful. Even we could think, oh, I'm going to remember Krishna. And then 2 minutes later, it's like, absolutely no memory of Krishna. And then the whole day goes by. And then maybe you're going to bed and you're like, oh my God, I didn't think of Krishna once today. Like literally not once. The whole day. Right? We're just forgetting. Who's at the basis of all of us? And we just forget him. He's at the basis of me as well. And he's friendly to you. So we have to undergo what's called susamiksha. Susamiksha means auspicious self-examination. When the difficulty in life comes, we have to see, oh, his grace has come in this form. His love has come in this form. And let me examine within myself, what is my problem? How am I not harmonizing with him? And then we have to see, actually, I have some fault within me. This is my doing. I have some fault within me. My relationship with the environment is not perfect. And necessarily some reaction is coming to me. So no wrong has been done to me by him. He's done me no wrong. And let me examine and see what my fault is. And by that, hridbhag vapu, that means with my thoughts. Hrid means my inner life. Vak means my speech. And vapu means my form. It means what I'm doing with my body. Vidadhan namaste. I will make all these parts of myself into a yogic posture of namas unto him. This is the process of moving forward in life. And these things that may feel very, very difficult, they can melt away. And our resistance and our problems in our self, which are all very, very, very unique, are all very unique to ourselves. Those things can leave us. And we can actually feel what is progress in life. The spiritual life is not a theoretical progress. It's progression. It means there was a you that couldn't get through that circumstance. Then by this graceful practice of Sharanagati, you got through that circumstance. And guess what? That you that came out of that circumstance is a different you. It's a better you. And Krishna wants that you for you. So, when sometimes the analogy is given, the sailor is in the ocean and then the storm comes. And sometimes you could try to steer around the storm. And in the same way as the storm comes into our life, sometimes we want to steer around the storm not to experience it. And we can try. But sometimes there's no steering around the storm. You're in the storm. And in that moment, you have to see His grace and smile and do the inner work and take a posture of obeisance unto Him and see His goodness. Trust His goodness. Remember, your best friend is the designer of your destiny. He's your best friend. He wants good for you. So we have to pass through that and then know the reality of like, okay, we came through this and now there's a new me. And that's one of the wonderful things in life is progression. And Srila Guru Maharaj says, you have to feel progression in your life. Up until that moment of properly going through this difficult circumstance, spiritual life is very theoretical, right? I'm doing these beneficial motions. I'm paying obeisance to the deities. I'm taking Mahaprasad. I'm doing all these things that are so helpful to me. But now the time comes to really surrender to Him. And can we do it? And then Guru Maharaj says, if you can do that, then you will know progress. And when you know progress, then you have something real in your heart. So this deep path of Sharanagati, this is the wealth of the line of Mahaprabhu. Really the wealth of the line of Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And by the grace of this path of Sharanagati, we can be carried through so many layers. Right? We have so many things that are layers within us of ego, but we don't know what they all are. That's the great mystery. But by the progression in life, we will know what they are. And we will be carried by the environment, by the mercy of His karma. As one of the mysterious statements of Saraswati Thakur. Saraswati Thakur said, karma is mercy. Can we find that? Can we find that truth? That the destiner of our life is merciful to us. And that He's taking us through so many layers. Why? So that we can actually participate in what is actually happening in life. What is actually happening in life is lila. What is actually happening is the play of God. And we have to participate in that. Otherwise our life will be very shallow. And our life will be not one of progression. So what can we do? We bow to our gurus for giving us this understanding, for giving us some type of forward motion in our life. And the deepest practice of real spiritual life, which is Sharanagati. There is really, without Sharanagati, there really cannot be a spiritual life. There has to be Sharanagati in our spiritual life. You know, Srila Guru Maharaj says extremely radical things. Okay, Srila Guru Maharaj, Shastra Nipuna, recognized by Saraswati Thakur. He is the one who knows the Shastra. Okay? Saraswati Thakur is like a genius, perfect Vaishnava of all time, with like photographic memory, just really like a genius of all time. And he's recognizing Srila Sridhar Maharaj as Shastra Nipuna. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj is reading the Shastra in the proper way and extracting the nectar. What is the essence of all of the milk of the Shastra? He's pulling the cream. Okay? And Guru Maharaj is saying, Sharanagati is what gives value to all the practices of spiritual life. That means Shravana, Kirtana, Smarana, Vandana, Pada, Sevana, everything has value because Sharanagati. So we have to meditate upon this. And Guru Maharaj says, without Sharanagati, everything is bogus. Okay, these are heavy statements by Shastra Nipuna, Srila Sridhar Maharaj. But we have to take these into account into our life and live a real, honest life of real surrender and spiritual progression in the moments of the days that we're about to face, including the rest of today. Okay, that's my humble offering to you all. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Rai, do you want to share anything from your heart?
Nothing else that was fine.
Okay. Devashis Prabhu. Yeah, any thought? Dandavats. Devi, nice to see you again. Yeah. And please, if anyone has any thought or question or comment, if you like, please do.
Going back before, when you were saying about right, like thinking about a Maya and oh, you know, out there's a Maya, but I'm okay, and that illusion and stuff, or like the environment's the problem, so I just have to fix it, or all that stuff.
Yeah.
But so, how would you like view that or balance that with? Sometimes maybe we need to actively also think about our environment, what environment we're in, is conducive or not conducive,
Yes.
not just maybe like passively be like,
Yes.
you know, it's like maybe it feels like a very inconducive environment. Of course, our mind might always tell us that anyway. Kind of that sort of balancing act.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely important question. So one of the limbs of Sharanagati is called Bhakti Onukula Matra Karjira Sukha, right? We accept what is favorable to our devotion. And there's two things in life. There's situations where we feel like we have our hand on the steering wheel, and when we turn the steering wheel, it works.
I hope.
But sometimes in life, you have your hand on the steering wheel, and you're like, you know what, I don't want to go through that. And it doesn't work. And you're just going to go through it. Okay. In the one hand, yes, there is association that's very conducive to your progressive life. One of the most conducive things is to be around devotees. Why are we all, there's nobody forcing anybody to be in here today, right? We're all here because we made a choice. Because why? We know it's good for us. We know without the association of devotees, our mind is going to go and flutter away, and it will carry our whole existence with us. So we choose to do those things which are conducive to bhakti, right? And that's why we take some, for example, one of the most conducive things is to take some responsible seva within the temple. It's a regulation of your life, right? So many sevas are there, and Seva Murti is here, right? They come to allow us to do service to them by the grace of Guru, and by the grace of great devotees who have dedicated their life, like Devashis Prabhu, to bringing the Lord as, the object of our worship, of our heartfelt worship. So all these things in life are very conducive. But even those things have to be done in a mood of Sharanagati. Sharanagati has to be, I am for you. Otherwise you can be in a temple and not be in a temple. Right? Because if you have a conflict with your environment, you can change your environment to the most wonderful environment. You can be around some of the most amazing people in the world. And if you have a problem with finding fault, guess what? You're going to find fault. Right? You can be around a great person, a great man. And if you have the mentality to find fault, you'll find fault. You can be around a great association of devotees. And if you have an issue with your mind, you're going to think, oh man, these people are crazy. I got to get away from these people and go to a different temple. Then I'll be happy. Right? Because that's all Bahiranga. This thing where you're thinking like, okay, the actual problem's on the outside. The actual problem's on the outside. The actual problem's on the outside. You will do that wherever you are. It's very important to start to see Krishna behind everything. Guru Maharaj would say, he quoted this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, very important verse for our practicing life. It says, Bhagavad Bhavam Atmana. Bhagavad Bhavam Atmana means you have to start to see everything in Bhagavad Bhava. Everything has some relationship with the Lord. Bhava means relationship, one of its meanings. Okay? And Atmana means I somehow, by the grace of the Lord, have a relationship with this thing, and I have a relationship with the Lord. So you have to start to bring Sharanagati into your life. Like Guru Maharaj can say, really in the highest type of consciousness, not the highest, but in a progressed type of consciousness, when you hear a sound, you'll think, oh, Krishna wants me to hear this sound. There's nothing that should enter your field of perception that shouldn't pass through a layer of Krishna consciousness. Everything should pass through a layer of Krishna consciousness. There shouldn't be anything, because remember, he's Hrishikesh. He's Hrishika Isha. Right? There's something mysterious when something comes through and actually makes it into your mind. Okay? And to start to view the Lord behind those things is valuable. So, I would summarize in answer to you, yes, we have to take beneficial association. We have to do beneficial activities. We have to take some responsible seva in the temple. Very important. Take some regulated contribution in your life. But you're always also going to be in unscripted situations in life. Unscripted means you can't look it up in a book and be like, oh, what do I do now? Some guy gets off the bus and is rude to you. Okay? Like you're walking by the bus, the guy gets off, just knocks you out of the way or whatever. Okay, now what are you going to do? You're going to go, oh, what do I do? No, you have to have a posture toward life where you can accommodate that in a progressive way, right? So within the temple and without the temple, right? Doing seva in the temple or doing the things that you also have to do in your life that may seem like it's not seva, but also that has to be seva, right? If you have to go get your driver's license or whatever it might be, everything has to be brought into some offering to the Lord. And life is going to always put us in situations, and we have to start to build the sadhana that gives us the proper perspective. In fact, one time someone asked Guru Maharaj, and Devashis Prabhu probably knows the story much better, who asked and when they asked and everything. But somebody asked Guru Maharaj, how can we serve you? What is the way to serve you? And Guru Maharaj says, we have to acquire, there's a few answers. This question was asked a couple times, there's a few answers. But one of the answers is, you have to acquire the proper angle of vision. You have to acquire the proper angle of vision. So it's not that he wants for us only, okay, you do this mechanical task. Do this thing, do that thing, do this thing, do that thing. But ultimately, he wants something deeper to be arising within us. That this angle of vision where we're seeing the Lord, that we're offering our very life and our breath and our moments of our day to the Lord, that angle of vision has to come to us, where we see that everything is for him. Not in a theoretical way, but really. We have to start to move toward that, and that's service, right? So, according to our life, if we're fortunate, we can live amongst devotees. If we're fortunate, we can do sadhana and seva in the temple. But we also sometimes have a different circumstance in life. And Sharanagati can accommodate all those things. Everything is happening. One sentence Guru Maharaj says that is very incredible, but it's actually true. All our situations in life occur by his grace. And to find that angle of vision, that's Krishna consciousness. And we're meant to find that angle of vision. And our gurus want that for us. Not only that, our environment wants that for us. Krishna wants that for us. And Guru Maharaj is saying, when you start to move in this direction, suddenly you will see everything really does want this for me. And Guru Maharaj says that's how you transform your vision. When you're in this outer thing where you have to cast your demands on the world, you see enemies everywhere, right? Because everything could be a potential problem to your desires. But Guru Maharaj says, when you cast your ideal as I want to move progressively in my spiritual life, then Guru Maharaj says, suddenly you will see friends everywhere. That everything is conspiring to help you within that. And that's the proper angle of vision. That there's friendship everywhere. And that's Krishna consciousness. He really is at the basis of it. It's not like there's some part of reality where Krishna's not there. And like we happen to be in it. There's nothing that can exist without him. He is at the basis of everything. And Mahaprabhu's advice, go straight to the basis. Right? Gita is also moving very slowly through that. Krishna himself, he's kind of talking about Brahman, then he talks about Paramatma. But then he says something very important. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I am the pratishtha. I'm the foundation of Brahman. At the basis of everything is him. Personality is at the basis of the unifying energy. Right? Krishna is at the basis. And so many spiritual paths, they're saying, no. First you have to understand you are in Bhuloka. And your senses are viewing just a small amount of the data within the universe. And there's also Bhuvaloka, this other dimension of other types of energy. And then Swaha, the heavenly plane, and Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satya, all these planes within this universe. Then, what is the basis of this universe? The energy on the basic? There's actually a plane of abscissa. There's the Buddhist plane, which is called Prakriti Nirvana. There's this plane where Prakriti doesn't exist. Right? There's the extinguishment of Prakriti. Just essentially nothingness. Okay? Then Brahma Nirvana. Oh, there is something. There is energy. There is something populating all of this. And then Shiva Loka, which is the outskirts of the spiritual world. And then Vaikuntha Loka. And in Vaikuntha Dham, there's so many layers of relationship with the Lord. In Aishwarya, which is our relationships of awe and reverence, some separation, because we realize that he is the cause of all causes and all-powerful. And all these things are laid out in Brihad Bhagavatamritam by Sanatana Goswami. But at the very highest level of reality, at the most fundamental basis, is Radha Krishna. And some people are saying, okay, no, you have to go through all these layers. But Guru Maharaj is saying, no, Mahaprabhu is giving the most wonderful thing. Go straight to the center. Go straight to the basis, Radha Krishna, and start to see their dance, their play at the basis of all reality. Every dimension, every plane of experience, including this little plane that we're in. Actually, what we're in, if you just understand the Vedic viewpoint, we're in a tiny little sliver of reality. We're in a little sliver, and our mania is that whatever little sliver we're in, we try to immediately possess and control. And if we went into a smaller sliver, we would want to possess that. And if we were a little spider between two rocks, we'd be like, this is my little area. It's like insanity. And it will continue all the way down. But really, we live in a little plane. We know this from Shastra. But Bhuloka means this plane of perception, these energies that we're perceiving. Why? Because we have this body. Our body, our eyes are receiving light. And through that light, this whole world is populated. But are we receiving the light spectrum? No. We're receiving 2% of the light spectrum. 2% of the light spectrum goes into our eyes. What does that mean? 98% of what is to be seen from a color and infrared and all these kinds, we don't see it. And because we don't see it, what? We don't feel possessive over it. There's all kinds of stuff happening that we can't see. We don't care. Because it's just not in our world of possession. Right? The same thing with our ears. The vast majority of sound is subsonic. What does subsonic mean? It's too low of a vibration, we can't hear it. Or ultrasonic. What does that mean? It's too high of a vibration, we can't hear it. We just hear this little sliver of what is to be heard. And you can go through every one of your senses and make a very similar understanding. So we live in a tiny little sliver, even of Bhuloka, even of this energetic dimension. And Shastra is saying there's many energetic dimensions. And you can say modern science is catching up to this. I understand, oh wow, there's multiple dimensions. But all these are just dimensions of the material plane. But what's with us? We have a broken relationship with reality. Any little plane that we find ourselves in, we'll feel the same similar type of possessive mentality. And that is what we need to work on right now in this life. We have to have Sharanagati to Krishna and see that everything is for him and break this little manic mania cycle that we have, this broken relationship with reality. Dandavats. Any other thought or comment, question? Okay.
Ram, you usually have a question.
Oh.
I was going to ask one.
Oh, please, sorry, I didn't say it.
You already answered it. I was going to ask why sometimes devotees are more attracted to the Maya than the sweetness of the Lord. But you already, it's not, you know, slokas, even though they know the slokas, it still happens. So,
Yeah.
because they're not putting it into practice.
Yeah. You know, it's a very interesting question because just to expand on it a teeny bit, I have a thought, I'm sure all the devotees have a thought here, but it is funny because we hear these things and then we feel ourselves absolutely attracted to trying to extract some enjoyment from our environment. And Srila Guru Maharaj, he speaks about this in such a merciful way. Because he's actually a Param Vaishnava and a real seer of the truth. And when he sees us fallen souls, he's not feeling some necessity of crushing us. He feels mercy and compassion with us. But Srila Guru Maharaj, he says, everything you're doing, everything we do, is because we're seeking rasa. We need some taste in life. Without taste in life, we feel empty. And Guru Maharaj says, there's this paragraph where he says, why does a thief steal? Because he's seeking rasa. And why does a working man work? Because he's seeking rasa. We're just thinking, oh, if I can just do this thing, then I'll feel some wonderful feeling. I'll get some little taste in life, right? So we're all, actually, the most wonderful thing is that our soul is seeking rasa. It's not dead, right? We're actually beings that have some capacity for tasting. And this is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's wonderful explanation of Sat Chit Ananda. Right? But Sat Chit Ananda is in a form. That's Krishna. Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. But all consciousness has the potential for Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means existence. And the word for existence and the word for truth in Sanskrit is the same word. This is very interesting also. But that which exists is Sat, is truth. So the soul has Sat. Means it exists. But existence has no value. Right? It's like, okay, it exists. Like, existence is not, like a rock exists. That's not the thing you're seeking. You're not seeking existence. Chit means you have awareness of your existence. It means consciousness. You have awareness of your own existence. Well, that's something now. You exist and you're aware that you exist. But still, that's not satisfying. Really, what are we all naturally searching for? Anandam. We're searching for something wonderful to taste, something wonderful to feel. So, the the binding of matter is that we have become captured in this Bahiranga Shakti, and we think, I have to arrange external things in order to feel something internal. Right? I have to do everything outside in order to feel something inside. And that's our little addiction, right? But it's all completely temporary. You feel some temporary joy, and then also some terrible feeling in the back of your consciousness that's saying, I'm going to get a reaction from this. So the pleasure in this world is temporary and reactive, right? You have to exploit a little bit in order to receive some little bit of feeling, right? But we're so addicted to feeling. We need to feel something that we at least run after our Maya to try to get our little cheap high, like a drug addict. They just need a little cheap, like, you don't really have this problem here, but in America they have like a problem with crack cocaine. A crack cocaine high is like 10 minutes. 10 minutes. They get this little like, and then they're like, boom, crashing back down again and running after crack. And these people are just running after their next hit of crack. It's really terrifying to see. But then when you view yourself and you kind of go, wow, that's kind of what I'm doing. This little temporary rasa from material enjoyment, and then it goes away and then we're running after it again, right? So we have to know that actually what we're seeking is Akila Rasamrita Murti. That Krishna is actually the source of real rasa, real anandam. And the devotees, they understand this, and they're like feel disgusted. Just like we might look at a crack addict and see them running after that high, and we feel like disgusted, like why would you do that with your life? In the same way the devotees are looking at us, running around for our little temporary drops of material enjoyment. It's like, why would you do that with your existence? And we just sang a song by Srila Lochan Das Thakur. It says, the devotees are being inundated in an ocean of joy. You're diving and submerging in an ocean of anandam. And it's like, and the unfortunate non-devotees are on the surface. They're not actually tasting the ocean of joy that is reality. Even Mahaprabhu Shloka, Srila Guru Maharaj again, in Loving Search for the Lost Servant, it's on the second page. It's like the first 3 pages of Loving Search for the Lost Servant are like such a wonderful gift of truth. But Srila Guru Maharaj, he translates Mahaprabhu's shloka, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagya Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. An unbelievably beautiful verse. For those that don't know, Mahaprabhu only left 8 verses. Okay, this is called Shikshastakam, 8 teachings. And this is the first verse. Cheto Darpanam Arjanam. We have to clean the mirror of our heart. And that means what? We look at ourselves and we don't know who we are. The mirror is broken. We have a false idea of who we are. But moving to the last part of the verse, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Mahaprabhu is saying the proper view of reality is Shakti and Shaktiman. It means ultimately it's all Sri Radha and Krishna. It's the potency and the potent, and their dance is creating ecstasy, rasa. But not just any rasa. An infinity of rasa. And fresh, never before taste is being generated by reality at every instant. An infinity of fresh rasa, never before tasted rasa, is being generated at every instant. That's the proper view of reality. And Guru Maharaj says, that's what that means. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipada Purnamrita Svadanam. Pratipada means at every instant. Purna means infinity. Amrita means nectar. What's actually happening is an infinity of fresh nectar is being created at every instant. Sarvatma Snapanam. And every phase of ourself that we can conceive. Our most inner soul to our most external self. That's called Sarvatma. All those phases of Atma in between that. Sarvatma, Snapanam. Every phase of yourself will be bathed in that Pratipada Purnamrita. And he says, Param Vijayate. This is the supreme victory of Sri Krishna Sankirtan. So we're running after little temporary drips of false taste because we need to taste something. That's the nature of the soul. But what is contained in Sri Krishna Sankirtan? What is contained in actual proper relationship with the Lord? Is it like an almost inconceivable statement? Pratipada Purnamrita. Like you can't find any idea of reality like this outside of Gaurachandra Mahaprabhu. It is the most beautiful idea that I've ever come across. And of course, we can read the verse all day long, but then we read what Guru Maharaj says about it, and then it's like, oh, that's what it is. That's what it means. Pratipada Purnamrita Svadanam. That's what we're actually seeking. And we're taking very poor substitutes and letting them dominate our life. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, can I ask one question?
Of course.
Yeah. So we are like son and daughter of Brahma, yeah? So we come from the Brahma, and if we are all are same, like come from the one area, so why there is a difference between one group that's saying, we cannot touch your food, or you cannot touch our food, they don't like to touch us, what's the difference in our culture or Hinduism? Like like ISKCON group, they're cooking foods, and we cannot touch their foods, or they cannot touch our foods. Why there is a difference on there? We are son or daughter of Brahma. We come from the one place.
Yeah.
Why the difference is there?
So I'm actually not quite sure what you're referring to, but I do understand difference. But
we are Hindu, all are Hindu.
Yeah, so we're all Hindu. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And ISKCON is a part of the Hinduism. Yeah. So when they cook, and we cannot touch their food.
Yeah.
They cannot eat from our house. They don't like to come our house to eat.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I haven't personally experienced
I've
that,
seen
to be
many
honest.
people not here in like back in like Bangladesh and stuff.
In here as well.
They are like separated from each other. They don't even drink glass of water from who is not ISKCON followers or something.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I grew up in ISKCON. My parents were disciples of Srila Prabhupada, actually. I have not experienced that. I don't think that's proper. That sounds like some kind of bogus concoction.
Some kind of lack of education or something.
We went to the one program last week, Sunday. He asked that question to that group, and they did not give any answer. They just gone back, and they said, "This is our rules." Why there is a difference?
Hare Krishna. So, Rai, you said you have some thought on that. I also have some thought, and we can try to share by the grace of Guru, and whatever you might think.
I mean, life is strange and mysterious, but the Lord is above everything.
Yeah.
And we will find ourselves in many strange circumstances as a result of variety, right? Because though we're all sitting in this room together, every single person that's here has a very different perspective of what's going on, right? And it's because of this strange individuality that's with everything that even Srila Guru Maharaj's own words, he says, because we're all perceiving things to some percentage, this is what's necessitating the Guru to arrive, right? Because so much distortion is coming in my perception of reality, and because I can't see what's real, right? We're kind of clumsy stewards of our own souls, right? So then, right, Om Jnana Timirandasya, like some necessity for something to clean the way that I can see reality. So then we can ask, why is there variety going on, and the variety seems to be in conflict, right? Maybe that's a good summary, I hope. Okay? So Srila Guru Maharaj talks about this in Centenary Anthology, and I was so amazed to see his answer that I find it very nourishing. Right? Guru Maharaj quotes over and over again, everywhere center, nowhere circumference. It's quoted, this quote is, they think it's from maybe the 2nd century, and it's been quoted by every faith. They don't know the source of it. Everywhere center means the Lord is in every single circumstance. No circumference means there's no boundary.
Yeah.
So why is the Lord in this circumstance where there seems to be conflict? Okay, and even in the spiritual worlds, we see conflict is happening, right? Balaram is the guru of Duryodhana. Krishna is the charioteer from so many pastimes for Arjuna. It's the Lord of the universe, right? Krishna is the Lord of the universe. Almost no difference with Lord Balaram.
Yeah.
And they're both supporting the two opposing parties. Like serious drama, right? All the way, like full war is gonna happen, right? This like the whole Gita is coming from this kind of like extreme situation. So Guru Maharaj's own words when it comes to this seeming conflict is that variety is what allows you to perceive, right? And he even goes so far as to say, if Satan didn't exist, would we know how merciful the Lord is? Yeah. Would we know how kind and sweet and beautiful and wonderful he is? And then he'll say, and darkness is coming to enhance the light. And bitterness is coming to enhance the sweet. And sadness is coming to enhance the joy. And now we have this very intense contrast. And you can say that we're all being put into these very intense contrasts in our life. And why? Well, because otherwise there's no gradation in everything, right? And we also have to think, what is Vaishnava etiquette? Right? We're seeing Vaishnava etiquette's very soft-hearted. And in fact, in all of the ancient world, India and the whole ancient world, like some guest comes to your home, what's the duty? You don't know who that guest is, right? There's a very deep notion in reality that you don't know who you're speaking to. I'm covered by my very unreliable senses, right? No one wakes up and goes, I hope I have a really bad day so I can remember the Lord more. We're thinking all the stuff we want and all the things that need to happen for us to have a quote-unquote good day in total forgetfulness most of the time. So then this ancient, you think these are ancient cultures, they're saying, we don't know who's coming to our door. We don't know who has devotion in their heart. And I will be so careful to offer them some water and welcome them. And this is actually like a deeper etiquette that's going through. And why would we have contrast? Because we have to look for what's deeper. We have to spend our life searching what is the highest thing that I can meditate upon and how can I come into connection with that? And if it's something that's actually high, then it's not going to be cheap. And it's not going to be simple and it's not necessarily obvious on first pass. And if we're continuing with our spiritual life, then what our goal is should also be moving. Oh, the reason I first came, that's not why I'm here now. And who I was when I first came, that's not who I am now. The Lord himself is in motion. His servitors are in motion, and I am in motion. I am actually looking for some transformation. So sometimes we come across some strange circumstance. But then what does it do? It causes some thought. Why is the Lord placing this circumstance in front of me to meditate upon? What is Vaishnava etiquette? What is in my heart the appropriate way to see, right? We see in the Bhagavad Gita has that wonderful painting, right? You see Paramatma and soul in every living being. So then we're hearing from Guru Maharaj and the scriptures, the more you come into contact with the faithful world, right? What are we trying to practice? We're trying to practice bhakti yoga. Okay, yoga means to connect, right? Connect with what? Connect with the center and everything else as a result. So then Guru Maharaj says, if we're coming into contact with the faithful world, then we will feel a broadening that is occurring. Not less connection with anyone, more connection with everyone, right? And the saints from these wonderful books, right? They're not saying, hey, you guys are dying in the forest fire of material desire. Good luck. Which we are, right? Mine is like inflamed with unending desire, even like trying to pathetically remember his grace and his beauty and his devotees, right? So then when we're coming into contact with something deeper, then we'll find not just with the other people that were, with the plants, with the animals, with people, right? So many stories are coming where revelation is coming from the Lord, right? They're saying actually the Lord is inside of the environment. He is in exactly this adverse circumstance that's feeling like kind of painful. Why am I not feeling some feeling of home with this kind of person? Why am I not feeling where, right? What is it saying in Harare Krishna? He says, when will I sit by the banks of the Saraswati underneath the herbs and we share prasadam and we speak of the Lord? Like these kinds of songs, you know, are Shura Dunitate Harare Krishna Bole. A very soft heart motion, actually. So sometimes we come into contact with something that's reminding us, and then it will be helpful for us, because then we say, well, what am I going to do when the guest comes to my home? How will I see what has come to me in the form of something unusual? And what is my duty to try and keep some type of honesty and fidelity in my own life? And what is it all for? So sometimes these things are very helpful, because until we get a contrast, we may even forget these kinds of simple, behaviors. Like all of these contrasts are very important for us. They're not coming outside of Krishna's will, right? Like we know we're living in a strange, dark time. We don't have to look far. We don't have to go online for hours and hours. We know it's a dark time. Right? It's the age of quarrel. We know our minds are inflamed. We know that this is happening. And somehow or other, we hear these stories where really the Mahajans of the universe, right? Mahajan means service indicator. They're saying this is a fortunate time to be born. So then Srila Guru Maharaj's own words, he says, because it's such an unfavorable circumstance that the medicine has to be even stronger. We need even more help than we usually do to remember him, right? So then we gather together and we meditate on these kinds of things. We go, he's inside of this circumstance to remind me of how I should behave, right? What is the appropriate, how can I see the Lord inside of every person somehow or other that I come in contact with? And then we have to make our offering, right? Guru Maharaj's words, he says, waves of proposal coming from the jiva, waves of disposal coming from the Lord. So then we make our offering. Offering is like a nice sentence, because it's not, I make my exact plan, and if it doesn't happen, I'm not happy, right? I mean, really, you can see Bhagavad Gita goes like this. It's like first chapter, Arjuna speaking with Krishna like, I don't want to kill my family. Why are we doing this? And if you think about it, it's like all those arguments feel very valid, actually. Like, he's not wrong, And I mean, like, who's Bhishma? Why would you want to kill your own grandfather, who's like one of the coolest people in the whole universe and lived a perfect life, impeccable life, a full sacrifice, and he's on the opposite side.
And he's a devotee.
And he's a devotee of the Lord. Yeah. Right? Like, these are the impossible circumstances that can happen, right? And then he's saying, I don't want to, and so then, right, then first thing, so constitution of the soul, like, we're starting here, and immediately, it's not like a slow, it's like immediate rise, right? Your soul, you can't die. But then what's the next one? Karma yoga goes, you put your full energy into this thing, and I'm actually the person that controls the result of it all. So we're making our offering, knowing we don't know actually what the Lord wants exactly. Who are we? Where every offering, our best shot at an offering is imperfect. Because we're imperfect. And our minds are all messed up, right? So then some offering to him, but so much trust, right? That's Sharanagati has so much trust embedded in it, that he will be so kind that what comes back to me will help me. It will transform me, right? Because if everyone else makes spiritual progress, that's wonderful. That's like a happy story. But I need to make some progress, actually. Right? That's where the story starts to get a little more dramatic internally for us. So we go, I need to offer, so I need to tolerate this strange circumstance. I need to find what is a higher ideal. I need to think about Vaishnava behavior. And then I will try to do those things. You know, knowing and trusting that when I fail, His grace and His kindness are inside of that circumstance. And some transformation is inside of it. Right? That's why also these seeming conflicts are happening. They're calling for transformation. Because actually life is very fast and moving and fleeting, and we want excitement in our lives. So then Krishna gives us excitement, and then we're like, ooh, why does it look like that? Right? But that's where transformation occurs. When all of a sudden we're confronted with something that causes some disturbance. Right? Then we have to, again, recalibrate. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Who are we doing it for? Right? And then some mercy can come. I hope that's
very
helpful.
Nice. Very nice, right. I maybe have one or two sentences to add to that. That's by the grace of Guru, we have some perspective that may be a little bit broader perspective. And we could try to think generously about the ISKCON devotees, because there's so many upasiddhanta, so many improper conceptions in the world. And they actually can't discriminate very well. What is up, what is down, and so they're just saying, hey, stay within ISKCON. That's it. Everything else, no.
No, yeah, that's the main concept.
It's very, very simple, but it's for a very simple person. Because that's a person who has to live in a small place to be safe. Then, okay, we think generously about that. Because they're not actually understanding who Srila Sridhar Maharaj is, how loving the relationship is between Guru Maharaj. But I would also say that's not necessarily like the ISKCON position. You know, Devashis Prabhu has a great friendship with Kripa Sundar Prabhu, Kripa Moy Prabhu, excuse me. And there are very good and broad-minded devotees within ISKCON, but sometimes different organizations have different perspective.
I'm not against with them.
Yeah, of course, but that's the thing, is that we're not against with them.
Yeah.
Like, our mood is one where we're just wishing well upon everybody, and if someone will come to me and be like, no, you can't come in this building, it's like, okay, I don't need to come in your building. You know, we're trying to live our life for that high flow, right? And whatever, if a door becomes shut to us, then that's okay. I don't need to go in that door. Think who did not go in Jagannath temple? Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, because they're saying, oh no, because you worked for the Muslim king, then you can't come in Jagannath temple. Then they said, okay. Jai Jagannath. Full love for Jagannath, but okay, the door closed. Okay, then I'm okay. That's my mood. I live for service. The service not in that door, then I go to the next door. Like that. Because we're not getting involved in society. Even though we have a mott, Chaitanya Saraswat mott, Chaitanya Saraswat mott is very mysterious. Because it's the organization that stands for the lack of organization consciousness. It's the building that stands for the lack of building consciousness. We're not about the external plane. We're about the truth. And these societal battles can happen. We're not a part of that. We're seeking the grace of Mahaprabhu. Nothing else. We don't care about the organization or the building or anything. Everything is just an opportunity for us to try to serve Guru. We have this building, Devashis Prabhu maintaining this building. the deities are appearing for us to give some seva. But really it's a place where the conception of these great devotees in the line of Rupa and Sanatan is discussed and worshipped. And where people of a similar mind can be brothers and sisters and link arms with one another for a very high ideal. And that's our perspective on those things. If someone wants to become cloistered in their society, okay, we wish you the good. We wish you good. We won't become like that.
I want to just also say a couple of things on that. That if being in ISKCON means that it's a new type of casteism, then we can't really support that. But it's very easy for that to happen. I remember when I was a teenager and I was in ISKCON, and there was one little boy there, and he was misbehaving very badly, and I told him off. And he said, "You can't tell me off. Your dad's a Malecha, my dad's a Brahmin." So, and of course this happens, right? Even in the time of Mahaprabhu, there were those who opposed Mahaprabhu because he didn't accept casteism. Yeah. He was against that, right? But the smarters, they hated Mahaprabhu because of that. They're thinking he's made the society made a calamitous society. Previously, Brahmins would only associate with Brahmins; they wouldn't eat with other castes and so on. Mahaprabhu, like Vaishnava, is more than Brahmin. His conception, and we're all together. We're not thinking, we're higher than them, or they're lower than us, or these things like this. But our Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was brought up in a smarter Brahmin family. Yes. And he said, my father hated Mahaprabhu. He said, my mother's side, they liked Mahaprabhu. They were devoted to Mahaprabhu. But my father, he had that idea that Mahaprabhu's destroyed the order of society. And because Guru Maharaj was brought up with that, he said, and after he joined the Gaudiya Math, right, he said, my last problem was that Saraswati Thakur was a Kayasta and I'm a Brahmin, from a Brahmin, so I'm thinking my Guru should also be a Brahmin. Then I realized this is just a material conception. He's more than that. He's a Param Vaishnava, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But Guru Maharaj did say, but even now I feel I'm in the vanguard of the rebels. So, because that's how he was brought up, right? So that these things are there in society. But ISKCON is meant to stand for Mahaprabhu's conception, not any kind of casteism or a new kind of casteism. Mm-hmm. And I think that's not their actual line. Maybe this person or that person within it may have that idea, but that's not Prabhupada's line for sure. Otherwise, why did Prabhupada come here to Malecha Desh and preach Krishna consciousness and recruit so many Malechas to be his disciples?
Yeah. When you come to our Kirtan, every year, so we need to cook, especially for their people, we need to cook food for them. Okay. So we cannot touch anything. For Devashis Prabhu, we can cook. For them, we cannot cook.
But then the next day they'll be in Pizza Hut.
That's actually insane.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, thank you.
So now, time for Arati.
Jai.
Jai Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.